welcome back to my channel. I'm Kassiah. This is SiahSwag, and I have the cutest bag to show you today. It is adorable. I am going to be sewing up the Aviatrix Crossbody bag from Pin It Up Patterns. And you guys, I didn't think I would enjoy this bag and like the end result as much as I did. It is absolutely gorgeous. Comes together so easy. I would say beginner, an advanced beginner type pattern. It is a drop-in lining, so just be aware of that. It's not a hard drop-in lining by any means. I did do it on my cylinder arm, so you know, there's that. That makes it a little easier, but I didn't think it was too difficult. Don't let the flaps fool you. It is not that hard, and it makes a gorgeous bag. I did mine with all vinyl. I think this outside vinyl is from Mormino, and then this pretty navy blue is up and coming vinyl from Tulip Bee. She should be opening her website very soon. So there's two flap openings on this bag. Do you see that? How it opens twice, and they both have pockets. The back, you have a zipper pocket here. I did a chain strap. You can do a regular crossbody strap, totally up to you. I do love the look of the chain though. This is the skinny chains I saw on my website. Okay, so the flap, you open up the first flap and you have an opening here and a slip pocket. I should have done the directional print on my flaps the other way around. That was a lesson learned because it is upside down when I open it up. So if you are doing directional print, just be aware. You need to have it pretty much what you think would be upside down and it'll be right side up. Does that make sense? But that's the first flap. And then you open it up again, and then you have another opening. And then I did a zipper pocket on this side, and then this divider pocket right here has another zipper pocket in it. Lots of pockets, lots of places to put things. I opted out of the card slots. It does have an option for card slots, so you can totally do that if you want. I interfaced my main pieces and this front flap with Decaville Light. I did all of my lining pieces. This is from Luxe Fabric. I sent them this file that I bought off of Etsy. You can find files off of Etsy and send it to them. You buy the files, and then they will do different bases of fabric with that print. And this is one of the prints I chose, and I absolutely love it. It's so cute. And then my bonded, what is it? Bonded nylon for my pockets is from Wonderground. Yes. I love how this came together. Guys, this is what it looks like on. Again, you can do a regular crossbody strap. I'm having a hard time getting the magnets. There you go. It'll take some practicing. I mean, how cute is that? It is such a cute bag. I love it so much. There are a couple of other tutorials on this. Brandy, who is one of the designers for Pin It Up Patterns, she has a tutorial, and Jess from Oakley Roots also has one. I will link both of those below in the description, so you can have those as resources as well. I will link all of the materials I used in the description and the tools and everything I used. So hopefully you can get through this bag successfully. Go support new designers. Grab a copy of this bag. It is so cute. So cute. I want to give a shout out to my Patreon members. My 15-month thread ahead, BJ Winstead, who is one of my friends. I met her a while ago in North Carolina. She is fabulous. Thank you so much, BJ, for being in my Patreon for 15 months. That's pretty much the beginning. You're awesome. Thank you so much. We do fun things over there. Go check it out. And guys, enjoy this tutorial. I hope you love it as much as I do. All right, let's go. Okay, let's go over our pieces for this bag. I have interfaced with a woven interfacing and a Decaville light for my pieces. So I'll show you which ones have the woven, which ones have the Decaville, and let's go over all the different pieces. I'm not doing the card slots in this bag. I just chose to skip them. But if you wanted to add the card slots, Jess from Okla Roots, and I'm pretty sure Brandy shows you how to do that on both their videos. I will link that all down in the description so you can have that to refer back to. Okay, so let's go over our flat pieces. I have one cut out for my piece G, my main flap panel exterior, and I did interface that with a Decaville light out of the seam allowances. She does provide those pieces for the interfacing, which I love. Okay, and then I have my lining main flap panel piece F. I did a woven interfacing on that just because my material is kind of light and it has a stretch to it, and I don't want it to have a stretch to it when I put this bag together. So there's that. I have my accent flat panel lining piece B, again with a woven. My accent flat panel exterior A. This one, I did not do any Decaville on. She doesn't recommend it in the pattern, so I'm not going to do it. Just that main flap panel. Okay, I have my main front panel exterior and lining. So this is my lining. This is my exterior. I do have Decaville light out of my seam allowances on that piece. And then this is my other main back panel exterior and lining, and again Decaville light on that exterior piece. So my inside pieces, I have a slip pocket and I have my trim all cut out and ready to go. I have my zipper pocket pieces. In the pattern, she has you doing them different sizes, each of them, because of the way the pocket is done with the zipper overlay. I'm going to do it a little bit differently and just trim down my pocket piece. So I cut the bigger of the two for each of them. So I have 4 total. And then I have my divider pieces. This is my 2 exterior and 2 lining. I chose to do the ghosty fabric for my 2 exterior of this divider pocket, and then this for my lining. I was watching Jess's tutorial and she suggested that this be a lighter weight material because it gets pretty thick. So, and I think this would be a cute accent for that. So that's what I'm doing on that. And then I have 2 zipper overlays. She does include this in the pattern, the template for these overlays. So I have 2 of those, one for the back of the bag, one for the inside pocket. I have 2 zipper tabs, although I'm thinking I might cut them down because mine are all vinyl and it might get pretty thick if I double fold them. So I might cut these down a little bit for when I sew them together. And then this is my back connector piece for my D-rings. All right. For my hardware, I am doing a chain. I decided a chain strap would be cute. You can do an adjustable vinyl strap. She has great instructions on how to do that. You could use webbing. Choices are, you know, you have lots of choices when it comes to straps, but I'm doing this cute little skinny chain. I carry these on my website. I have 2 3/4 inch D-rings. I have a bag of 18mm magnetic snaps. I'm thinking you could probably do 14mm, or you could do, these are pronged ones. You can do the rivet snaps as well. I just didn't have any matte black rivet snaps, or else I would have done those. I've got some actual rivets for that back connector piece. And then 2 zipper pulls and my nameplate. I am going to stick, I have this cute little ghosty tag my friend Rose sent to me. It goes perfect with the colors on this bag. So I will be putting that probably on the slip pocket somewhere. And I have my zipper tape. I'm using white with black teeth zipper tape. And I think that's it. I think we're ready to go. Let's start putting this bag together. Okay, so I'm going to start with the center divider pocket because the strap and the card slots I don't need to do. I'm not doing the card slots, and the strap is my chain strap. So we're going to start with this step. I have marked the top centers of all 4 of my center divider pocket pieces, and I did take my zipper tab piece and I cut it just down the middle in half because I am doing vinyl, and then I ran a lighter along the edges so they are not fuzzy. So I'm just using 1-inch strips for my zipper because I just don't want it to be too thick is, you know, what I am trying to avoid. If you're using a cotton material or a lighter weight material, you can do the full double fold zipper tab just fine. So I'm just going to put some little tape along my edges and sandwich them on the ends of my zipper. Make sure your pull is already on. You don't want to do this without your pull on yet, so put that pull on your zipper. All right. Beautiful. So I am just going to sandwich and top stitch down these tabs. And they will be way longer than they need to be. We'll be trimming the ends down just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to top stitch that. And then I'll trim it even with my zipper. Okay, and that's super easy, nice and lighter weight. I just knocked down my other zipper tab. Okay, and then just repeat for the other side. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to mark the center of this real quick. And I think I'll just do a tiniest of clips. Don't do a big clip. You don't want that zipper to fray. I do the tiniest snip. All right, so I want an exterior piece of my divided pocket. I want my zipper right side down. I'm going to do some tape instead of basting. So you could totally baste, but I am going to tape. I like the way that tape kind of holds it together a little bit more and it doesn't shift when you're doing this whole step. So we are just going to mark those centers, line them up. And I am going to put my zipper along that, and then I'll sandwich a lining piece on top. Okay. So here's my lining. And I don't remember if, I think this one sticks okay. And are we sewing it along the entire? Yep. Okay, we're going to sew it down along the entire panel. Align my centers right there. It's always helpful to mark all your centers when you're making a bag, no matter what. No matter if the pattern calls for it or not, it almost always is helpful to have that done. Okay, so here's my zipper sandwich. Zipper is right side down. I'm going to sew that on at my seam allowance given in the pattern. I'm going to just move this down a little bit, my zipper pull. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to turn that so both pieces are right sides out. And I'm going to top stitch along that. She suggests only top stitching at your tab and down and stopping at your tab. That makes sure that this seam right here stays clear and you can open it up when you sew the whole bag together. That's always a good thing. So I'm just kind of pulling my pieces down as I go and top stitching. And then we're going to just repeat for our other side of the zipper with our other two pieces. So I'm stopping at that zipper tab there. So I didn't go past my zipper tab on either end. Okay. So now I'm going to work with this side. So I'm going to take my exterior piece again. I'm going to put some tape along it. And then we'll sandwich it with that lining and sew it down. Sometimes when you put tape on it, you can't really tell where your little cut is that you did your center, but there it is. Okay. Tape that on there. Okay, and then I'm going to put another piece and sandwich. Right there. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to flip and do the top stitch again, starting and stopping at the zipper tabs. All right, so that's what you should have right now. You got a little zipper panel. All right, next step. After you have this put together, you're going to take just the two lining pieces, okay? So my two lining pieces, not the exterior pieces. My two lining pieces, we're going to just clip that right there at that seam together. And we are going to close up the lining. Just the lining. And the next step is your card slots. If you are putting card slots into your bag, this is the step where you put it on the exterior part of this pocket. but I am skipping the card slots. So just be aware that after this step, that is where you would put them on. All right, so I'm just clipping, let me just throwing clips everywhere here. Let me just clip this whole thing. So you're gonna sew around the 3 sides, the 2 sides and the bottom. She says start like maybe 1/4 inch down from here. So don't start right at the seam, but just a little bit farther down. I'm gonna come up actually from there. I think that might be a little easier. And pay attention to your seam allowance on this piece. All right, here we go. So I'm not gonna go all the way up to my seam, about 1/4 inch before it, okay? So there's my seam, and I stopped about right there. Okay. I'm gonna flip it over and do this other side, and then I'll do the bottom of the bag. Okay, so that's what I have right now. Again, if you're doing card slots, you would add the card slot to the exterior piece right here. And now I'm gonna put this aside and we're gonna work on a flap piece. Okay, so now we're gonna put some snaps onto our flat panel. So this is my lining, accent flat panel lining. And I already put on my male side. It's the one with the little nub sticking out. I already put my male side on there. I did Decaville heavy under it, and then I covered it with some duct tape so the prongs don't rub against my bag and cause holes. So that's really important. If you're doing rivet snaps, then you don't have to worry about that part. All the placements are on all the pattern pieces, which is fabulous. So let's do my accent flat panel exterior. All right, so this is the female side of the snap. So you just line up your pattern piece there. I already punched out my holes where those are at. So I'm just going to get a pen and mark. And then I'm going to take my washer piece here, and that little hole on the washer piece, I put over that marking that I just did. And I'm going to draw on my prong markings. And that's where I will cut my material and insert my snap. Super easy. Everything's laid out nice for you. So there's my markings for that. Take my little Fisker's blade tool here, and I'm just going to cut along those lines. I have already cut my Decaville heavy pieces for this. And then here are my female snap sides. Okay, and I'm going to put those on. Sorry for the hammering. I've got a little tiny construction going on my house right now. Can't really avoid that. So sorry for that if you can hear that through the camera. All right, so I did my Decaville, my washer. I like to use something to fold my prongs in. You can fold them out. It's really just a preference as to if you like to fold them in or out. And then I put a piece of duct tape over it. Beautiful. Other side. Okay. Again, this is my exterior accent flap female snap. I did the male snap on the lining accent piece. All right. And there it goes. Beautiful. So that is how that looks when it's done. And here is my lining. Snaps on. All right, let's sew these two pieces together. Okay, so I have my two flat pieces that we just added the snaps on. I drew a line 1 inch down from the top of each. I put some double-sided tape along that top edge, and you are going to fold that down to meet that line. So it's a 1/2 inch fold when you're done. So it's just nice and even and finished along the top. So do that to your lining and your exterior of your flap, accent flap. Marley May, don't bark. Marley May's hearing Oakley bark, and now she wants to bark. Okay, so you're gonna take these two pieces, right sides together, okay? Here we go. And I think it's probably most important that this lines up here. Just a minute, Marley. Okay. That top edge, and you're going to clip that around, and we are going to sew down and around. We're not sewing the top. The top is pretty much our turn hole for the flap. So do not sew that top shut. Okay. And we are now going to sew this together. Okay, so we're going to trim. How much? Around the corners. We're going to do some pinking shears though. Let's do that. So let's just trim around these corners here so they lay nice when we turn this flap out. Beautiful. Okay, we just want to turn this out and get all of our seams laying nice. Helps if you have something to poke all your corners out with, right? Okay, so I'm going to sit and kind of just give it a little finger press and roll that seam out and put some clips on it. And then I'm going to be top stitching around at 1/8 of an inch. I think it will just clear my snap. I think I should be okay with this regular foot. If you don't think that you have enough clearance, you might need to switch to either a skinny foot or a zipper foot to get around these snaps, or wait to put them on until after this step. That's always an option. because you have this top still open here. So if you do all your markings and cuts and wait to install your snaps until after the top stitch, then you don't have to worry about your foot hitting that snap at all or getting in the way. I think I'll be okay though. All right. Let me double check. This is the only spot I'm worried about is right here. Ooh. I think I just clear it. All right, I think I just clear this snap, but when I'm this way, yeah, I should be okay. My foot's gonna go over that and leave it marked. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my skinny foot to make sure that I can clear this snap right here. And then we will top stitch along these sides. All right, I got my skinny foot on there. We're just gonna do a little top stitching. We're not top stitching along this top panel that is open still. Okay. Oh, getting caught on my vinyl there. Just a minute. Really don't want that to tear. Okay. We're good. Hi. Huh?
Are you filming?
Uh-huh. I am filming.
Get the dogs on a walk.
I cannot. David can.
Okay.
He doesn't have to get on till noon.
Okay.
So ask Davy. Sorry about that. Awesome. That skinny foot was the trick. Ooh, it looks pretty. Okay, so there's my flap. So you're going to draw a line down with some kind of erasable tool. I've got my chalk pen here from this top. Measurements are in the pattern right here. All right, beautiful. And then we're gonna put some double-sided tape, and you want to sew it on just like that, I believe. Exterior side up. So your flap needs to be exterior side up. So I'm gonna put a piece of double-sided tape along the back of here. I'm going to use my skinny. And you're going to do a double row stitching. You can draw on your double row stitching. I'm just going to eyeball it. Totally your call. Okay, so I'm placing it along that line, which is going to be, it's going to be a booger to sew, I feel like, but we can do it. And you need to center it. So I need to make sure it's centered. You know what? I need to mark my centers. I can't just eyeball this. Thought I could, but I better not. Let me find all of my little centers here real quick. It's hard to see with that pen. the joys of having multicolored material. Some pins don't work. Okay, so that's my center there. I think I'm going to fold it like this just to place my flap on. It lays just a little better for that. Here's my center. I almost think it might be helpful to put just the tiniest piece of little strip of tape in between your two layers on your flap so they stay even when you do this part, because it's going to kind of bend and want to separate, I think, when I pull all the layers out to sew it. So I'm just putting a tiny piece right in between. And make sure that's lined up even with each other. There we go. Okay. No, it looks like it's over this way more, doesn't it? Right there. Hi, baby.
I sent a code to your phone because I'm signing into your Amazon.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Put things in your cart.
Okay.
Well, you can't. My phone's updating right now, so my phone's not on.
Okay. Well, let me know when it is, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, obviously I have kids home right now. Okay, so now I'm going to just sew down, and then I'm going to make a little box. I'm going to make a little double row of stitching there to sew this on. I still have my skinny foot on. I think it might be the most helpful on this one. All right, here we go. My lining is all flipped out of the way. Okay, I'm just sewing through this exterior piece. Just gonna put this under here. It tends to get caught on the very edge. I am gonna check my foot to make sure, or my needle, to make sure it's not getting sticky, because I am sewing through some tape, so make sure that you're paying attention to that. Okay, and then I'm going to come up, probably 2 stitches, because it needs to be 3/8 of a box here. And then I'm gonna come back down. And then I am going to sew back down to connect. Oh, I don't know if I can actually. I feel like it's too thick behind my foot. Let's see. Just be aware. There we go. Beautiful. Yes. Look at that. That looks good. All right. Because then it's going to come down maybe? Or down this. Oh, it's coming down this way. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. I'm going to clean my needle off here. And we are going to work on the main flat panel next. Okay, so now we're going to add more snaps to our main flat panel lining piece. Again, you just transfer the markings that are on your pattern piece, and we're going to do the male snap, which is the one with the nub sticking out. And we're just going to put those in just like we did the other ones. I've got my extra piece of interfacing there. You could use Peltex if you don't have Decaville Heavy, just any kind of extra type of stuff to give you more stability, because these snaps will be used quite a bit. So you just go like that. I got my piece of duct tape. Boom. All right, repeat. Maybe. Come on, did I not do lines? There they are. All right, there. Okay. Okay, beautiful. So after those male side snaps are put onto the lining piece, you're gonna take the main flap panel exterior and you're gonna sew these right sides together, and you are not sewing along the top edge. You're just sewing along the two sides and the bottom. So just clip those together. You're leaving the top edge open. Okay. And don't line up perfectly. That's okay. It'll all be caught in my seam allowances in the end. Okay. Just choose which side you're going to follow when you sew this on, all right? Okay, I'm going to sew from my main exterior side. Sew that along the three sides. Make sure you're paying attention to the seam allowances. They do change just a tiny bit throughout the pattern, so make sure you're paying attention to that. And let's do this. I do still have my skinny foot on, just because I wasn't sure with the top stitching around these snaps as well. So I'll keep it on right now. Sometimes my foot comes loose when I change it. It seems like it's shaking a little bit. Yep. Awesome. I'm going to take my pinking shears and trim that seam allowance so it kind of folds out nicely when I go to turn. Awesome. All right, here we go. take my little tool, get all my corners poked out here. It's got that funky little corner right there. Make sure you're poking that out. That curve. Okay. Okay, I'm going to top stitch around the 3 sides, leaving the top open still. Although I think you could probably stitch it shut because it's just being attached underneath your connector. So I might top stitch mine closed actually. So it just goes on even when I attach it to my back piece. Yep. All right, here we go. Let's top stitch. All right, and then I'm going to just baste my top shut. Make sure I caught all my layers. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. There's my flap. I'm gonna get out my connector piece and my back panel. Okay, so we are going to work on the connector for our strap. So I have my connector piece here. I did put just a strip of Decaville light down the center. I just don't want that ripping if this is the main connector of the bag. So I put a 1/2 inch wide strip of Decaville light. I've got double-sided tape on each side here, and I've got my center marked. I'm just going to fold my edges to the center all the way down both sides. And of course, you know, if you wanted to do 1 inch connectors, you would just adjust this strip to be 2 inches wide total before you fold. And then when you fold in, it'd be 1 inch. Or even if you wanted a 1/2 inch wide one, like you could adjust this for whatever connectors that you have available for your bag. Okay. So I've got that, and then I'm going to put another little piece of double-sided tape on each end here. I watched a little bit of Okla Roots tutorial that she did on this. I like to see what other people, you know, change and do. And she changed her measurement to 2.5 right here. She said that 3 just made it a little shorter than she wanted and 2.5 was perfect. So I'm going to try it that way. I'm going to mark down 2.5 inches. And that's where I'm going to fold my ends to. So I'm going to put my D-rings on here, take my tape off, and I'm going to fold that edge down to that mark right there, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. All right, there. Beautiful. And then I'm going to put another strip of tape along the back of this. Awesome. Okay, and then I am going to mark my center on here real quick. Oops. Oh, it's just my iron. Okay, that's my center there. And then I'm going to mark my center on here as well. Could also do a little bit of a clip. Okay. I want to center, just drop my lid. I want to center that on right here. But I want to make sure, I don't want it all the way to the edge, right? I want it down just a little bit from the top. I don't want it, because if you put it all the way to the edge, you might be able to see it over the top when you sew it on. So make sure it's down enough that it'll be out of your way. And I am just going to trim this extra little stuff down here because I don't want that showing either. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to take this off. Doop. Centered right here. And I'm going to move it up just a little bit. About right there. Make sure that's, well, it looks like my center. I just want to make sure it's straight. Okay, there it is. Okay, that's what that looks like. Now, I want to add it to my main back panel piece. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I already have my line marked down from the top for my placement and my center. And this is going to be sticking off this way off the top, okay? So I'm going to put another piece of double-sided tape there. Lots of double-sided tape. It's your best friend. Keep using it. Just be aware of it gumming up your needle. You don't want that. Okay. And I am going to line those two centers up there. Along that line. Awesome. Okay, that's what that should look like. It's all centered up. It looks good. I'm going to get a wipe and take off my silver marking pen so it doesn't stay permanently on my piece. Sometimes that happens before I sew this down. I like to use just baby wipes by my machine for that. Okay, I'm going to sew this down. I'm going to mark a 1/2 inch away from my connectors here as my turning point, okay? Okay. And then I'm I'm going to use this scrap piece to protect, to protect my foot. All right, here we go. You know what? I think I'm going to pull my threads through on this. And I am going to start down here along the bottom, actually, here. All right, so what I mean by pulling my threads through is I am not back stitching. I'm going to hold them and just go forward. And then when I get all the way around, I'm going to match up where I started with where I end, pull all my threads through and tie them. And so it just gives you a nice, clean stitch along the back. There's no back stitching. Okay, I'm just trying to protect all of my vinyl here. Gets pretty thick, so be aware of all of your layers and what your machine can handle here. And you don't want that foot scratching up all these layers. Okay, so see where my thread is sticking out there? I'm going to flip this up. I'm just going to give this a little tiny tug right there, and it gives it a loop. You want to pull that loop through to the back. I like to keep a little, straight pin on my machine for that. So now both of my threads are pulled through the back, and I'm going to do the same thing when I end. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have clipped the ends of these connectors a little, or the strip a little bit, so it doesn't stick out. It's kind of sticking out the top. I don't love that. Should have thinned that up a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to try and end right by my stitch where I started. Looks like I've got 2 more. And you can kind of pull up and move your piece. There we go. And put your needle down right where it needs to go. Okay, and I like to hold these 2 threads so I know which one I need to pull through. So this is my back one. So I'm going to give that a tiny tug. It's going to pop it up. And it'll pull the other thread through to the back. And I've got all of my threads there. And I've got a nice clean stitch around there. Looks great. Okay. So I'm going to tie those through, or tie those up. And I think I'm going to put a couple rivets on this part. Because I think some rivets along this will look cute and it'll give it a little extra security. Awesome, just like that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, I won't show this part on camera, but I'm going to put a rivet right there and right there. And it'll make it look cute, and it'll just make sure that everything stays where it needs to stay and give my stitches some extra support. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then we'll start doing zipper pockets. All right, so I'm going to add my zipper pocket to the back of this bag. I have my zipper overlay. I've got my marking here. It's on the pattern piece. I just kind of measured it and figured it out where, and I have my center marked on both these pieces. Tape through the middle of these zipper overlays, and I'm going to do the installation of this, just a little different than she has in the pattern. I'm just doing it the way that I prefer to do zipper overlays. So it's up to you what you want to do. I will show you my way, or you can follow her way in the pattern. Both are great. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to sew around, just taking off that silver marking pen there. I'm going to sew around the outer edge of this zipper overlay. I am going to be pulling through my stitches and tying to the back, just like I did on the connector, just so it's nice and clean. Okay, here we go. And this process will be the exact same way I'm going to do the lining pocket of the bag. So I won't be showing you this twice, but this is the same way you'll do if you do the zipper overlay, this is the same way you'll do the lining piece of the bag. Hand cranking is your best friend around those curves. I'm going to go ahead and pop through my thread now so it doesn't all get mixed up with everything in the end. Okay, so there's my threads. And then I'm just going to try and end where I began. Beautiful. Pull that. I'm going to hold those two threads so I know which one I need to pull to the back. So it's this one right here. Got it popped up there. All right, and then I'm going to tie these threads to the back. I don't know if there's a right and a wrong way to do these knots. I just take my threads and do them all together. I suppose you could do a couple of separate knots, but I just tie them all together. And I do a couple of times, actually 3 usually. Just like that. Okay, beautiful. So the next step is you need to cut this middle section out here. You don't want this in your bag. Just putting a line down the center real quick, and then get a pair of scissors, and you need to cut that out just past your zipper overlay piece. You don't want to see this material underneath when your zipper overlay piece is up. So I like to cut it and then take it to the back and kind of trim it out, just like this. Some people like to cut this out ahead of time before you even sew this piece on. That is totally an option. It is your call. There are always multiple ways to do one thing, especially in making bags. And this is why I don't put my double-sided tape all the way to the edge either, because you need to be able to lift this up out of your zipper overlay. Sorry for the hammering, guys. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay. Yoop. Awesome. So you can cut it even more if you want to out of the way. I think that should be good. And we are going to add our pocket next, okay? Here we go. So I have my zipper tape pull on. I have 1/8 inch double-sided tape each side, and then on one right side of my lining material, I have another strip of tape. So I'm going to take off one side here. I'm going to put my zipper on it. It's got the pull opening to the right currently, but when I put it in my pocket, it'll end up being closed left to right, the way I want it. All right, so I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to take this piece, turn it upside down. I'm going to take the tape off of this side, and I'm going to slide it in there and center that into my opening right there as best I can. Beautiful. All right, so now I'm just going to sew. I'm going to start a little bit before, and I'm going to sew just this side and stop right there. Just this side of my overlay. Okay, so my lining is going up, okay, and I'm along the top edge of my zipper. We're going to start right there. I will be pulling my threads through like I did before. I'm just going to protect my material right there. All right, here we go. And then I'll start, or I'll stop just after, maybe one more. Okay, and then I'm just gonna pull it. Boom. All right, so I started, stopped. I'm going to take those threads, pull them through, tie them, and then I'll attach the other side of my lining to that zipper and finish off the zipper box. All right, so now you want to just fold this one down. So it's going down towards the bottom of your piece here, okay? And then I'm gonna take off the top tape of the other side of the zipper. And I'm just going to carefully make sure that that's all lined up and taped down where it needs to be right there. And then after that's taped down, I'm gonna take my other lining piece. I'm gonna take the tape off of that and I'm going to put it on the top of the zipper, aligning it with the top edge there. So that's the other side of our zipper on. So you're gonna flip it over from this way. And then right where you left off, right here, we're gonna start. I'm not gonna backstitch. We're gonna go down, around, and back up over here, and I'm not gonna backstitch. I'll pull my threads through and tie, and then we just need to close the pocket up. Well, let's do it. And then I like to put my needle kind of down so I can see where it's going to land on my piece. And here we go. And then again, I like to lift it up and I can see where I'm going to put it in. There we go. Ooh, looks good. Okay, we're going to pull that through, tie off, and then I'm going to close up my pocket. This is a drop-in lining, so we do not need to leave any holes in any of our pockets. So you can go ahead and just close them all up. Look how pretty that looks, see? When it's all done. Ooh, so pretty. Okay, so now I just want to, I'm going to close up the sides here and the bottom, and then I'll probably just trim it down a little bit. Just like that. I am just going to trim this pocket down. You don't need all this extra. You don't want to catch it in any of your seams, so it's better to have it trimmed down than leaving it really big. All right, so after I'm done with this one, I'm going to go to my main lining front panel piece, and I am going to put another pocket exactly like this one with the zipper overlay. I'm going to do another one on my inside lining piece, and then we'll do the inside slip pocket. I have my second pocket put on my lining piece. I put a tiny little tag, a ghosty tag there. I thought that was really cute. So we have both of our pockets done. Oh, I just love a good zipper overlay. It just, I mean, it just classes up your bag. Okay, so put those aside. I've got my other lining piece here, and I've got my slip pocket piece, and I am doing a trim on my slip pocket piece. So we are going to take that and we are going to fold it up right sides together, and we're just going to sew along our two sides here and turn it out. And then we encase that raw top edge with our trim. This is also my favorite way to do a slip pocket because it just is so pretty this way, I think. Okay, here we go. So I am just going to sew up the two sides. And I am going to trim those little corners there. That'll just help everything be nice and crisp when you turn it out. Okay, let's turn this right side out. It helps if you have something to poke out your corners there. Okay. And you totally could take this to the iron and give this a nice press too, if you're not using like canvas or anything. Now my ghosties are going to be upside down on the inside of the pocket. If that's bothering you and you don't want that to happen on your bag, if you have a directional print, you could do this with two pieces to make sure that the inside is going the right way. I don't really care that much. It's the inside of a pocket. You can barely see it. But If you are one of those people where that bothers you, you'll have to sew this in 2 pieces and sew 2 pieces together so they're both right side up. So keep that in mind. I am going to just baste this top close because then it makes it just a little bit easier for me to put on my trim piece. Now my trim piece, I need to go cut, I think, I cut this a little too wide. I'm gonna go trim this down and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the right size of my trim piece. I have my center marked. I'm just gonna put a little bit of double-sided tape along each side of my center so it stays where I want it on my pocket. And then I will top stitch this on. And it'll be so cute. All right, there. I like to just do the bottom one first and get that all lined up. I do it right under, you don't want all these extra threads sticking out. I do it right under my center line, and then it's got room for that fold over along the top, okay? And this will, my piece is longer than it needs to be. I'll trim down the edges. And then you just want to trim down, or you just want to fold down that piece around your pocket. It'll be so cute. Just like that. And I will go ahead and trim my extras down here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch that. And cross my fingers that I get both sides of the trim. If you don't, then I just do a double row of stitching and then the second row gets the back side. It's not the end of the world if it's not perfectly folded over. All right, let's see. I caught both sides, we're good. All right, so now I want to place that on my other lining piece here, and it needs to be, let's see, 2.5. 2.5 up from the bottom, right there. And I'm kind of just gonna, well, I'm gonna clip my centers anyways. We'll draw my center on here. Yeah, throwing my scissors. All right, so now I just want to sew on this pocket. I am going to just mark the bottom there so I know where my center is, so I can get that lined up right there. Ooh, he's cute. That is super close to the top. I'm going to move it down just a tiny bit. That should be good. Good. All right, here we go. Now just sew around the 3 sides. If you wanted to divide this, you could. It's a pretty small pocket. There's a fly in here. So I'm not going to divide mine, but you totally could and have a little pen pocket maybe, or a little chapstick pocket. That'd be cute too. I like to do extra stitches down on the corners of my slip pockets just because I feel like it's probably got pressure being put right there. And then on the top edges as well. Totally your call. You could even put some rivets on these slip pockets if you want to. I'm not going to though. There we go. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Next step. Okay, a couple things we need to do before assembling this. So these are my 2 lining pieces. You need to mark a line that's 3/4 of an inch down on both of the back side of your lining. And then also with your 2 exterior pieces. So this one and this one. Mark 3/4 of an inch down because this is a drop-in lining. We'll be folding that down and dropping it in. So you need to do your line now. So mark all 4 pieces with that line. Okay, so now we're going to work on assembling the divided pocket into our lining pieces. What I am going to do is baste all of my pieces together real quick. So I have got my exteriors and my lining all together here. It's all put together like the pocket should be. I'm going to take them all along this bottom and I'm going to clip and baste these all together. Because I just need them to stay put. It'll be easier to work with if all of these pieces are basted together. So I'm going to baste my sides together as well. She doesn't say to in the pattern, but I'm going to do that. So these sides right here, I'm just going to do tiny little baste because it'll be easier. Nope. Okay, so I'm just going to baste these together real quick. So I didn't sew these corners. You leave these corners open. This material frays. That's okay. It'll all be sewn in a minute. Okay. All right, so now you want to take your exterior pieces, right? Or not your exterior, your lining pieces. And we are just going to, I'm not sure yet. We are just going to line them up here at the bottom. Whoops, I didn't trim this. Here at the side bottom corner, that's where it needs to line up, right there. These boxed corners aren't going to line up perfectly, and that's okay. Our seam allowance is going to be big enough that we can get them all in. So your lining piece is going to be taller than your center divider pocket. That's how it should look. I'm going to go ahead and sandwich the other piece on that same side first, just like this. And we're just going to do one side at a time. You want to make sure that your flap is out of the way when you're sewing up at the top here, these two sides together. Okay, so that's what we have. This is our lining pieces, our divider pocket in the middle, and then another lining piece. I'm going to start at, I think you increase your seam allowance. So you start with a 3/8 inch seam allowance up here, and then you increase it to a 5/8 down here. So you want it to get bigger. Make sure that you pull this flap out of the way. And let's do it. Just like that. I think, do we trim that down? Trimming down, yep. We're gonna trim this seam allowance down a little bit. You don't need all of that bulk in there. And now I'm gonna match up the other side of this and do the same thing. All right, so I'm gonna take the other side, line it up with the bottom right here on the side and go up. Okay, here we go. I think right there. This one, see, it feels like my zipper tab is closer on this end. I'm going to change out to my skinny foot just to make sure I can get past this zipper tab here. Okay, so I changed out to a skinnier foot just to make sure I can get up by there. All right, same thing. Put my clip bowl in the wrong spot. Had a hard time right there. I'm gonna come back this way real quick because I don't like how that didn't quite go. There we go. Getting caught on that bump. Better. You see how the first time my foot went whoop? I fixed it. Trim that down. So now I think I want to bring these together, and we are going to connect these. all the bottom pieces together. See, this is where your layers get pretty stinking thick. And then bottom seam. And then we'll have to try and match up and box this. Okay, that's where it's going to be tricky. And that's where it kind of gets wonky. Okay, I'm not quite sure where this part is in the pattern, but you need to sew all the bottoms together, all the layers. I think maybe it had you do this before you sewed the sides. I'm not sure. I'm doing it after. And you want to use that bigger seam allowance, that 5/8 seam allowance, I believe, and then trim it down. Some bigger scissors for that. Hopefully this is correct. Wasn't quite seeing where this was mentioned. Okay, so now here comes the part that I think might be a little bit tricky, but I think we can do it. So you need to box all of these layers together. And they're not all going to be even because your divider pocket is a smaller size than your linings. So let me open up the zipper. I'm going to get my hand in there and kind of get that separated. And you want to nest the seams, which means you want them going different directions, right? So we're going to do our best to get those in there. You just don't want the seams laying the same direction. Wow, I'm so glad I didn't use vinyl for this part because I think vinyl would have been super difficult with all of these layers. All right, my clips might not be big enough. I have my big clips. I have some big mama clips. Where'd they go? I dumped them all out. There it is. My big mama clip. All right. So they're all in there. All of the seams are there. You just want to make sure that you sew them all up. So there's my boxed corner. Okay, I'm going to sew that with a 5/8 seam allowance, I believe. Yep, and then you trim it down, okay? And that should catch all of the layers that you need to catch. I'm going to do just another row just for safety measures. I still have my skinny foot on. I don't love it. I need to change back to my other one. Okay, so now I need to trim that down. So that's not going to look pretty from this side, but when your bag is all done, it's going to look great. And it's going to fit good in there, okay? So that's what we're doing. Next side here. I'm going to reach my hand in there. Okay, it takes a little bit of effort, but it's not that bad. Just scoot it out of the way. Come on. Stay. There we go. Beautiful. All right, there it is. Let's sew this side up. All right, let's sew our second side up. I think I need to help it up over this hump here. That might help. So I'm going to put a piece of vinyl on the back of my foot, and that'll just help it over. And then if I put it under here, it'll help that foot come back down on that surface. Much better. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time with just like the second row, just to cover all my bases. My bases. Not bases. Okay. Awesome. Trim that down. That's our lining. Okay, all that's left to do on that lining is, we want to put tape all the way around the top here and fold that down to prep for our drop-in lining. Here we go. And I am definitely going to go to my cylinder arm for this drop-in lining, guys. Okay, but you can totally do it on a regular flatbed machine too. Don't let that stop you. And I like to leave my seam right here flat. Goes a little bit better. Okay. So rub that on. Peel it off and fold it down. And we'll be doing the same thing with our exterior two pieces too. After we sew them together, we'll be putting tape and folding them down. Okay, so that's all turned down and we're ready to pop in our exterior. Looks good. Okay, here's my teaching moment, PSA, what not to do. Okay, so I put on, this is my original piece. I put on my snaps the wrong way. So if you mark the back of your piece for your snap placement on your main front panel, don't put your pattern piece right side up on the back because these are not equal. One is higher than the other. It needs to be face down on the back. That's the right placement. So do you see how? they're opposite, and I'm glad I caught it before I kept going. So make sure when you put these snaps on this front main panel that you are not mirroring and accidentally switching them. So I have a new piece cut out here. I'm gonna quickly do it the right way on this piece, and then we'll move on. Okay, so remember, if you're marking your panel from the right side of your exterior, then your piece is right side up. If you're marking it from the back side, then make sure your piece is right side down, okay? That should be the correct placement. Silly me. Okay, beautiful. Right? That's there. That's there. Yes, that's correct. Okay, let's try this again. Awesome. Now I want to put my nameplate on. That looks better. All right, so she puts it on about right here, right side of the front main panel. So let me get my nameplate out. Looks like it's about maybe right there might be good. Looks good. We'll do that. I don't need any backing for this. It's just a nameplate. It doesn't get tugged on or anything like snaps do. So, and we have the Decaville on this already. But I will put tape over it because we still don't want those prongs rubbing on our other material, okay? Beautiful. So that's what that should look like. Let's continue. All right, we're gonna put our two exterior pieces together now. We're gonna put them right sides together along the bottom. And we're going to sew up this bottom edge first. We're going to open it up and top stitch the seam flat. And then we'll be sewing up our sides and folding down our top for our drop in. So I already put a row of double-sided tape at the top of each piece, and I have my line for my fold. So we're going to be folding down that top there. Okay. So make sure you do that too. All right, I'm gonna sew the bottom together. Here we go. And then I want to fold that seam flat and sew down each side of that. That's just giving it a nice top stitch, and it's going to lay nice and flat when we're done. And I'm using my fingers under here to flatten my seam as I go. If you're doing a cotton or a material that you can iron, you can always iron that seam open. Okay, awesome. So now I want to take it and sew up my side seams, right sides together here. You want to make sure your flap isn't in your way, so just fold that out there, and that'll be helpful. And repeat for the other side. All right, and now we want to box our corners. And you're just going to use that same seam allowance, okay? Now, when you box these corners, I'm going to flatten this seam to match this bottom seam, and it'll lay better. All right, so right there, right there. And I think, whoops, I think I'm gonna do 2 rows of stitching. Oh, totally, my material is super slick. So, it totally moved on me. Let's try that again. I'm gonna try laying it down this way maybe. I'm just going to do a little second row right next to that first. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to repeat with this side. We want that to lay flat. Beautiful. Okay, awesome. So last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my tape off and I'll be folding this down to that line. So it's nice and folded and even, and then we are going to put the 2 layers together. Okay, I have my tops folded down and now we're just going to be putting these 2 into each other. So we want to turn this right side out. Awesome. I want to put this, because this flap goes out over like that, and that flap, how does that work? Oh, that goes there. And then those go down there. Oh, that's cute. Okay. So make sure you're putting it in the right way. All right. So this goes in here. Just like that. And then make sure that all your flaps line up. So here's my bottom flap, right? Right there. I've got clips in the way right now. And then my top flap goes down on top. Oh my gosh, you guys. How gorgeous is that? What a cool pattern. Oh my gosh. Okay. So now I've just got to clip these layers together so they're even. And then we're going to take this over to my cylinder arm and top stitch. So I like to go with my side seams first and match those up. Now you could totally put another layer of tape in between these layers. I'm just going to use a ton of clips because I really don't want to have to use more tape. But if they seem to slip at all, I will go ahead and tape it. I think we'll be okay though. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. All right. Right there. Right there. I'm just going to take this super slow as I stitch this together. It's fitting pretty perfect. Now, if I had to stitch this up on my flatbed machine and I didn't have my cylinder arm, I would definitely be adding a layer of double-sided tape in here because the pressure of like trying to shove it under my machine would definitely shift my layers. So I would for sure recommend that if you're doing it on a flatbed, okay? All right, so let's do our back here. Oh, this is so cute. Okay, guys, this cute little bag will be for sale too if you guys are interested. It'll be up on my website. Oh, she pretty. Okay, over to the cylinder arm we go. We are going to sew this gorgeous thing together. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. All right, let's finish this up. Okay, here we are at Big Beauty. I don't know. Is that her name? Did I just name her Big Beauty? All right. I'm going to start with my back. I like to hide where I start and stop along the back usually. So let's get her in there. I need some kind of clip container hanging off of my table. I don't have that yet. I need that. Anybody have a clip container that they recommend? Okay. So we just want to put it right there. I just tested my tension. It seemed good. And just a minute, I don't like the way that was laying. Okay, that's better. Hold your threads, all you cylinder arm people. All right, here we go. making sure my machine is walking high over these seams, because if it's not, it could struggle over these seams, and we don't want that. We're good. Yep. We are good. Lower it back down. Okay. I'm missing my bucket. It went kind of wonky right there on me. Hopefully we're okay. Goodness, I'm just throwing clips everywhere. Did I go off? You know, I got some practicing to do on this machine, and that's okay. That doesn't look horrible. All right, we're gonna put the chain on, and I'll put this all together. And we're done. We don't have any holes to close up, any other hardware to put on. It is done. Okay. Okay, here is our finished Aviatrix Crossbody bag by Pin It Up Patterns. It is so cute. I totally love it. It was fun to make. It wasn't that difficult. The top stitching, you know, drop-in linings are either a love-hate, and now that I have my cylinder arm, I don't hate them as much. And this one was a very doable drop-in lining. But all of the snaps lined up so perfect. I think I put my divider pocket in, zipper in backwards. But, you know, what do you do? What do you do? It's still totally functional. It closes to the right, and I'm used to it closing to the left. But you know what? This zipper pocket that I did in here, same thing. It closes the same side. So I guess it all worked out, right? Adorable, adorable pattern. Go check it out. Go support new pattern makers. Pin It Up Patterns. I think this is maybe their third pattern, and they're coming out with a fourth. I could be wrong on that number, but very cute retro style patterns. Absolutely love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.